In this project, we're going to create the object shown here called a guide plate. We're going to use various coordinate entry systems to construct its lines and circles. To start this project, I suggest you start a new drawing. Here in my Quick Access toolbar, I'll click on New, and you can see in my Select Template dialog box that the ACAD.DWT template is lit up. That is my default AutoCAD template to start a drawing from scratch. I'll choose Open and start the new drawing. I'm going to set up my units first. I'll go to Format, down on the menu to Units, and click. This opens up my Drawing Units dialog box, which I want to choose decimal, and for precision we'll choose 2 decimal places. Say OK. Next I'm going to set up the drawing limits. So I'll go to Format again, and I'll go to Drawing Limits. There is no dialog box with drawing limits, but down here on the command line you can see that the lower left corner has been specified at 0, 0. I'm going to hit Enter to accept the default, and now it says my upper right corner is 12, 9. I'll accept that also by hitting Enter. Looking at the readout down here in the lower left corner, when I move my cursor up here in the upper right, you can see it doesn't read 12, 9, and it won't until I zoom to my limits that I just set by doing a Zoom All. I'll go View, click on Zoom, and choose All. Or a quick way to do Zoom All using our keyboard command is I hit the letter Z on the keyboard, hit Enter to start the zoom command, hit A for the All option, hit Enter, and that performs a quick Zoom All. One last suggestion before we start. Down here on the status bar we have our drawing aids, and I would toggle these off so they are not lit up. We're going to be drawing mainly with our coordinate entry system, and I've also turned off dynamic input, so we'll be reading our commands off of the command line. To start this object, I'm going to start at absolute coordinate value of 0, 0, which would be my origin. I'll start a line command, key in 0, 0 on the keyboard, and hit Enter. Now I have a small visual reference of our project right here, and we're going to start by drawing this line across the bottom. Again, we're going to use absolute coordinates, and it has a value of 5.5 on the x, comma, and 0 on the y. And I'll hit Enter again. And you can see my line starting across the bottom. I'm going to pan, so I just push down the wheel mouse and use my pan, or I could use my pan down here on my Quick Access tools to move my drawing area up. My next point is 2.5 units above or on the Y vector from my current position, so I'm going to use a relative coordinate entry. So I'll start with the @ symbol, and then I want to move from my current point 0 on the X, comma, and 2.5 on the Y. And that establishes that point right here. Now I'm moving to my right, and we're going to get some help from our drawing aids. We're going to turn on the Snap and Grid down here on the status bar. Also, by watching my drawing coordinate box down here in the corner, I can see that as I snap across, the snap is currently set to 1/2 unit. When I come over to 8 and 2.5, I'm going to click the mouse and accept that location. And now I'm moving up. This time I want to move up. I know that's 90 degrees. I want to move 3 units. I'm going to use a relative polar. So I will hold down the Shift and use the @ symbol, which is on top of the 2 key, and I put the distance, which is 3, and then I'm going to say angle of, and the open side of my bracket always goes towards the angle, and enter 90 degrees. I'll hit Enter on the keyboard to enter that point. Now we have an angle that we need to put in. And I know that my angle would be 1.5 units to the left and 1 unit up. To do that, I'm going to use a relative, so I'll say at, and from this current point it has to be a negative 1.5. If I want to move to the left, that is a direction back towards the origin, so it's a negative value. And put in a comma, and then my value up would be a positive value on the y, and hit enter. For this last point, I'm going to use direct distance entry. So I'm going to make sure that I'm snapping to a straight line, and just from the keyboard enter 6.5. And if this was my origin point of my line, right now I can use my option C to close the object. So C, enter, and it will close. Next, we need to place these two circles or holes inside of our object. To do that, I'm going to use a circle command, and off the flyout on my draw tool panel, I'm going to choose center diameter. We'll put in the absolute coordinate value of the center, which would be 2.5 on the x, comma 3 on the y, and hit enter. And for the diameter, it is 2.5. My next smaller circle is up here. I'm going to right click the mouse right now, and from my shortcut menu pick repeat circle. Now I want to go from the center point of this last circle, and I'm going to give a relative amount, so I'll say at, and this should be 2.5 comma 2, and it finds that point moving from the last center point of my circle. Now right now it's asking me for the radius of the circle. I want to right click and from my shortcut pick diameter so that I can specify the diameter at 1.5 and hit enter. With this, I've completed my guide plate, and now I should save my drawing. Notice that up here on the title bar my drawing has a generic name of drawing3.dwg. I'm going to choose Save on my Quick Access toolbar, and in my documents I have a folder for my AutoCAD projects, and I'm going to name this Project 1 Guide Plate, and I will save that. Now up here in the title bar you can see that the project name has been changed. Also, all of my drawing files have an extension of .dwg.